All right, what's up, guys? This is Hans with iPlayWinner.com. We're here with Capcom's own Seth Killian. What's up, man? Kind of chuckling there?
I'm hanging in. It's near the end of the show, so I'm gonna close this one out. Keep it together.
Yeah. Here at PAX in Seattle. How's the show been so far for you guys?
It's been awesome. I get tired out sometimes, but just seeing everybody and like seeing the reactions and just talking to people really buoys me up. So I don't know. I'm always psyched to see shows like this.
Which game? I know you guys are showing Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Have some Third Strike in there, and some Resident Evil in the back that I haven't had a chance to check out. Which game is getting the most reception this time around?
I think Marvel right now is holding it down, so people are really excited to try the new characters. So Marvel and Street Fighter are going pretty neck and neck. Asura's Wrath has also been really popular, so that's worth checking out. There's something for not quite a Street Fighter's game, but it's pretty epic. So.
And that's like an action game or something?
Yeah, it's actually kind of it's like a manga brought to life. So definitely action, kind of like a Japanese God of War.
Okay, cool. Well, I know the people tuning into this are fighting game fans, so we're going to get right into it. I played a little bit of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I played both games, but with Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I had a couple questions. The first was, the main thing that strikes me about that game is the throw range. And I have my own theories on why you have to be point blank to the opponent to throw them at all. Can you elaborate on, is that deliberate, like a deliberate decision by Capcom to make it so you have to be point blank with the opponent to throw them at all?
Yeah, throw ranges are definitely very, very short. It's one of those things where we're standing like this and I'm whipping and you're like, way. So one, you can still do car throws and things like that, all that works, but basically the nature of the engine on Cross Tekken, you got a lot of chains and you got people closing distances like very quickly, like in terms of their motion just on the normals. And we were having an issue where it turned out to be, because there were throwable boxes on the normals, of course, you could accidentally grab people out of stuff, or if they did a chain that's not necessarily a solid block string or something like that, you were getting grabbed all the time. So we've intentionally sort of scaled back the throw distance, so it's quite small right now, but it's something we can play with. So right now it's more we're aware of how it is, so we just want to let people play and see without having constantly getting thrown by accident and things like that, or having that be a dominant strategy. So we can sort of buff it up again at the end if we think that's what's appropriate.
My theory was that it came into play when I started messing around with the cross assault mechanic, which is quarter circle back and medium punch, medium kick, right?
That's it.
Yeah, okay. And that, if you guys don't know, that's when you bring out your other character and you can basically attack them from a number of different angles. And the chief strategy that I learned from Skunchin, he told me, hey, just throw them and activate cross assault, jump over them, and just start mashing. So I figured maybe throws would be really strong with the cross assault ability in there.
You thought too far about it. It's it was just one of those things where the chain combos it kept letting people get grabbed like from really far ranges. Like you don't expect it to stick out like a standing strong and get grabbed like by a dude just standing there. So yeah, that was basically it. And again, it's something that we may buff up, but yeah, throwing into cross assault is a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. Now with the cross assault, the way that it works, is there sort of any auto block function? Let's say you have Kin on one side and then Sagat on the other. Do you have to constantly block the right way back and forth? Is that how it works, or is there some sort of auto block mechanic in there?
Auto block does work, so you get what's it called? True blocking. What's the term I'm thinking of? I'm very tired today.
It's okay.
Yeah, where the block, it will automatically correct your block as long as you remain in block stun. So if you're not in block stun, then you need to adjust your block. But if you're in block stun from the start, you will stay in block stun the whole time. So it's continuous. So it's not as dirty as it sounds, but it's still pretty dirty because you can still do high lows and all that.
Mix in some overheads.
And that you do not get the auto block on that. So it's the left-right block.
Okay, cool. Now, as far as the console release, can you talk about any of the online features at all at this point?
Yeah, they're still got a few things in the can, but the one thing I can say is that the Street Fighter team wants to up the ante on themselves. So the things that you've got already in like an arcade edition, I think you can expect some new and better things coming out of that whole system. They've gone back. It's not GGPO, but they've gone back and revisited the whole netcode issue, and I think that people did see the netcode getting better from vanilla to super and beyond. So they're iterating again, and it's looking pretty good in tests right now. You never know with the netcode until you're out in the wild, or I never believe it until it's out in the wild. But yeah, they're going to have a ton of, when I say a ton of online features, there's going to be a lot. So get ready. Maybe more than you're ready for.
Okay, a lot to look forward to. Okay, so switching gears to Ultimate Marvel, I had a chance to play that for a little bit as well, and right out of the gates, I played Magneto, and he is, I mean, I would say completely different, but it's different enough to where, you know, a lot of my standard combos don't work, and it's just judging from the response from a lot of players online, a lot of videos and wrap-up posts, and from the, you know, the Evo build and everything else. It seems like a lot of the top tier characters have been deliberately nerfed inconsiderably. Was a lot of those changes taken just from the tournament results, or was many of the overpowered abilities of these characters, was that already known before the game like even was announced? I mean, where did they draw? Was it a little both?
The inspiration? Yeah, no, we follow. So actually, the lead battle designer on MVC3, and well, he's the guy you might have met him at Evo, Neo G. He's worked on like a million Capcom fighting games, and like the awesome ones too. Like he's got a solid gold track record. We watch tournaments and trade matches all the time. He goes to all the tournaments locally and checks them out. So he's big on the tournament results, obviously, as am I. So the whole team is tracking that thing, or those things, and are aware of it. So they were, I get funny notes from them all the time about that kind of stuff. But that's where it was from. Regarding Magneto, I actually think Magneto's better than he used to be.
Really?
Yes. So there are variants on some of his traditional combos, not necessarily the same standard fierce loops or, I can't even think, magnetic, grabby, loopy loop.
Well, it seems like his fierce pushes the, you know, I don't want to turn this into like an interview about Magneto.
Let's go. Yeah,
but you know, the main change was like his fierce would push the opponent back a little bit, but at the same time he has the new ability where he can pull in the opponent, and it seems like a lot of characters got something like that. Like Ryu has his new fireball. I was messing around with him, and I guess you can do a shuriken with his launcher now, and stuff like that.
I was trying to show a little bit of that off on the stream today. He's got his mashable Hadouken as well, so you can get a little stream of Hadoukens going. The charge uppercut, charge fireball. He's got cool stuff. But Magneto, I think that new move he's got is actually one of the most powerful moves in the game. And there's some really neat trick shot combos you can do where you're sort of bullying the opponent into assists multiple times. So, Magneto players may be going back to the drawing board a little bit, but he's still a real powerhouse, I think.
Okay, now, and we'll get to some of the newer characters in just a moment, but as far as the returning cast, you know, there's obviously been a lot of changes throughout the entire cast, but with those characters, who do you think is still one of the strongest contenders on the entire roster?
I actually think Amy is still really strong. Phoenix, I think, is still pretty good. And Wolverine, I don't know, just watching people play now in the tournament, I mean, you know, we have our internal teams playing and things like that, but just watching people play in the tournaments and stuff here at PAX, his tricks still work. So not quite as invulnerable as it was and not quite as fast as it was, but it's still strong, and I feel like it's more back in the fair zone where it's still a legitimate mix-up, but it's not free. Like, you know, you felt like someone pulled down your pants a lot of times playing against a good Wolverine. You're just like, man, you know, like I was doing fine, and then he did this random move, and he didn't even have to guess which way he was going to go. And then on hit, or you know, he can hit confirm, speed up super, you know, to save himself if he wants.
So maybe out of in the old game, the original like vanilla Marvel, you get that 10 out of 10 times. Now you might only get it 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, you still get it, and it's still pretty juicy. She-Hulk has taken a different turn, so we'll see how that goes. I actually think Iron Man is going to be improved or going to come up, although Iron Man players, he's not Magneto style anymore. He's definitely, so keep an eye on the unibeams and some tricks there. So we mentioned before that we're trying to do a little more focus on some of the zoning, which is really, really hard in a Marvel game because characters are so fast and there's so many teleports and things like that, that to make zoning anything other than just complete lockdown is hard because there's just too much mobility to lock those guys down. But we're trying to do that not just because we like it and it's a nice balance. I mean, we do actually look at that. It's funny because I think back about Marvel vs. Capcom 2, just on the forums and stuff like that, we used to argue about, these are the basic archetypes of like giant, pixie, and you know, zoning character or something like that. And those are actually the real ones that they use internally at Capcom. So
to this day. Okay.
Yeah, that's they have different words for it, but it's basically those are the archetypes. So we're trying to make sure those archetypes are well represented. And the thing that I love most about Marvel, and again, you know, it's not an amazing single-player mode or anything like that. It's just there's real, I think, richness to a lot of those characters, and I think they play really differently from one another. So I don't have that sense of like playing the same dude over and over again. And even with the 12 new characters in Ultimate Marvel, I think they've managed to bring that out again, which is makes me happy.
Okay, and so yeah, moving on to a lot of the newer characters that have been revealed. I played on stage against actually a Ghost Rider player, and I couldn't believe how much damage Ghost Rider does with that whip. Like, what's up with that? I mean, does he have like one of the highest damage outputs is out of all the new characters? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, his combo potential is a little lower. His combos are a little difficult to set up. Not everything he has chains into one another, but the individual moves that he has do a lot of damage. So I think Ghost Rider is what I call day one good, but I think he might be beyond day one good as well. So I thought he was sort of like, flash in the pan, I'm just going to do this basic stuff with Ghost Rider, and I'm sure it'll be good until people learn, but it's still working. So I think he's actually a pretty strong character, and part of that is the damage he can get off single hits, which is one of the things that other zoning characters have suffered from, is you could do damage with, daggers from, Arthur or something like that, and you can get your bits and pieces in there, but you can't really turn it into the bigger combo that you get from a Magneto who finally lights you up when he cracks the inside, gets in there. So we're trying to make those individual hits as buff as we can to give the range game legitimacy.
Okay, and the two newest characters that are announced was Nemesis and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about those two just a little bit?
Sure. I mean, Nemesis is pretty much as advertised. You can. There's some characters you can sort of watch videos of and be like, nah, I don't really get it, or there's things you don't understand or whatever. But Nemesis is pretty, what I call, instead of like a double entendre, he's like a single entendre kind of guy. Like, he's just like, I'm pretty much exactly what I look like. I got a rocket launcher and some tentacles, and yeah, but his jumping tentacles are actually really strong. I think one of his best assets. So he's got full screen tentacle, and he's got jumping tentacle that he can go either sort of straight across or down angled, much like the Ghost Rider. Both those are really strong.
This sounds like a rated M game.
Well, yeah, he's got the tentacle level 3 as well. Yeah, and there's some exploding goo. So, yeah. Well, that's Resident Evil. It's kind of crossing that line.
Does he have? So it seems like he would be the type of character who doesn't have a lot of ability to do like long combo streams. But does he have any sort of like ground bounce attacks? Any OTG attacks? Or
he's got the pipe. So his jumping special is basically like a Hagar pipe type of move where he uses his bazooka. So he's got ground bounce on that. He's got wall bounce off some of his specials and things like that. So his combo ability is actually pretty solid, and he doesn't have to do too many relaunches. Obviously, when you use him with the right assist, you can start to get really dangerous relaunches. But the reaction so far is like, hey, just like ABC launch, ABC OTG Super is doing 70-80%. I'm like, yep. So right. You don't have to be the fanciest combo maniac with him to really make it hurt.
And Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange is magic, man. He's just a really fun character for me to play. I also like it because I can beat up the other good Ghost Rider player. Because he's got this command teleport where it's just sort of a way and hard attack, where he'll sort of gesture like this, and it's perfect because it doesn't do anything unless someone hits you,
Okay.
So Ghost Rider's hitting you with the whip. I just throw that out there. It's pretty much completely safe. And if the whip hits me, I teleport immediately behind Ghost Rider and can light him up.
Wow.
So he's still got his regular command teleports as well, where you put the motion in, but there you're doing a little bit of guessing, and maybe you're going to get baited into a wrong teleport or something like that. It's a fast teleport. It's really strong on its own, but I like that one in particular because, and if you catch people at the right point in their attack, you're teleporting so fast that you're getting them before they can even recover.
So and just to clarify this, it sounds like a parry kind of attack, parry teleport attack, basically?
It is. It's more like a Dudley counter or something like that, where, instead of him standing there, Doctor Strange is sort of waving you towards him, but you can sort of spam it out, so you can just do 1, 2, 3. It doesn't work against projectiles, although he does have a projectile counter super, which is another interesting take. But he's got a really strong zoning game and a lot of interesting traps and setups, and is one of the most mobile characters in the game because of that. Not only that teleport, but his regular teleports very fast. And also the spell of Vishanti, where he opens the book and that you get the portal sort of Dormammu style. That thing is super good. It's a full screen punish that tracks anywhere on the screen. Even if you're just trading, if you get hit by something that knocks you out of it, the super's persistent, so it still hits. And you can bait people out all day. Like, you know what people, I mean, there's many situations in Marvel where Magneto's going to throw another disruptor or something, but there's really nothing you can do. You're kind of hosed, and you're like, all right, fine, I'll take it. Doctor Strange not only can teleport behind you, but the super, the only bad thing about that super, it does decent damage, but it usually pushes you out of easy DHC range because it launches them up pretty far skyward. So a lot of DHCs will not connect with that, but that was intentional because we felt it was really strong.
He sounds like another Dante type character where he has like a lot of depth, a lot of moves, maybe not the most orthodox moves, but it sounds like once you get the hang of him, he's going to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, Dante's more of a combo maniac. Strange is actually a really strong zoner. He's got the discs of the knack that can fly out there, and one thing we haven't been using, I can't even remember the name of the move now, it's like a mystic swipe. He's got one up close, the jab, or the light attack version is just up close, and you can use that in combos. But the medium one is like a slice that flies straight across the screen at good speed. So when you use his projectiles in combination with one another, it's really, and you get the right assist, it's really difficult to get around, and a lot of them also track, so he's got a lot of tracking projectiles, so he's really strong that way. And that same frustration when you can finally get in on a guy that's zoning you out, then he'll just teleport away, or you finally get your super ready, you're like, okay, I know you're going to throw out another projectile, so I'm finally ready. He can teleport away or just do the spell of Vishanti and own you that way. So Doctor Strange doesn't have the best health or defense, however you want to talk about that. And he doesn't do a ton of damage, but he's really tricky and really mobile. I think he's one to watch right now.
Okay, great. And in regards to a lot of the online features, can you talk about any of the changes that are being made to online play? I know, honestly, even me as a player, that was one of, I think, to be frank, one of the biggest disappointments about the original Marvel. Not really the game itself. I thought was really fun, even to this day. But the fact that it was really frustrating to play online. Yeah. I'm assuming you guys are addressing that as well.
They're working on it. So the team's going back to the drawing board. One of the difficulties we're struggling with at Capcom right now is that, historically it's one company, but at the same time it's made of individual teams. Mm-hmm. And fighting games, we didn't really know were going to be necessarily a huge hit or a huge part of our lineup. So one of the things that we're trying to do is get more parity across the different titles, because you look at different Capcom games and you'll see different feature sets from one to another because they're all done by different teams. Right. So we need to get those teams closer together and sharing more of the stuff. The teams are also competitive, so they're like, we did a great job, and you can't have it.
Hold that.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not like that, but the teams are competitive, so they're trying to do great things. Mm-hmm. But I think we need to find a way to get it together where we can have sort of a unified feature set where if we've got a good thing in one fighting game and it makes sense for another, you can sort of expect it, rather than having sort of more variation. And again, like with the spectator mode that we added into MBC3 or Ultimate MBC3, the team just wasn't able to get it figured out because of the craziness. So they weren't able to pull that off for the original one. People knew it was one of the top requests, so they were able to do it this time. But again, the more we can not reinvent the wheel every time with the feature set, it'll be better for the people at Capcom, obviously better for the players, so I think that's the direction we're headed.
So there's a lot to look forward to as far as the online goes?
I hope so. Again, I never believe any networking stuff until I see it out there in the field, but yeah, they're back at the drawing board as well, so hopefully they come up with something spicy.
Well, I respect that you're not, getting everybody's expectations way to outer space, with that sort of thing. But as long as there's new, and I really think the spectating feature would be at least, if you lost the match because of lag, you can at least sit in the lobby and watch somebody else lose the same way, but instead of just the bouncing cards, which was a little frustrating. That was almost like a taunt in itself, the bouncing cards after you lose. So.
Yeah, getting trolled. I know. I hated that.
Yeah. So now one last question. I know you got to get back in there, and there's a lot of people looking to talk to you. So in regards to DLC with Ultimate Marvel, one thing that the guys over here were actually brought to my attention that I didn't notice is there's no Jill and Shuma in Ultimate. Are they still going to be DLC? They're not going to be included with Ultimate? Yeah,
they're DLC characters still, so if you did buy them in Marvel 3, you'll have them available again in Ultimate, but they're still DLC. It's a tricky question there, because if you give them away, then the people who bought them the first time are sort of sore and feel ripped off, which I kind of understand. There's also problems from sort of a business side with Marvel royalties, and even if we wanted to give those away, we're not just giving our own stuff away, we're giving away Marvel's money, so they need to be involved in that decision as well. So ultimately, I mean, making the guys who did pay for it the first time not feel screwed, yeah, they're going to be DLC characters again. That's the bottom line.
Okay, yeah, and as far as, I know there's that first wave of costumes that came out, alternate costumes, and then we didn't hear anything about that as well. I'm assuming there's more costumes and characters on the way via DLC?
We will see. So the DLC in Japan are not always the best of friends, but it's the same sort of thing. So we take different approaches on different games. We're trying to figure out what works. We definitely hear people's reactions loud and clear on the DLC issue. So these are battles I try and take up internally and at least let everybody at the Capcom Japan side know what the rest of the world is saying. What that means about the direction we'll go, we'll see.
Okay, and where's Capcom going to be next? Where can people get their hands on these games next? Can you tell us?
Yeah, well, Near term for me is going to be going over to Tokyo Game Show, so I'll be leaving. Man, I'll be on the road again quite soon. So we'll be over in Tokyo Game Show. We'll have some new reveals on the games that people I think are looking, your audience especially, is looking forward to. So Tokyo Game Show is always big for Japanese companies, so we try and strut some cool stuff there. So look out for that. But we're also going to be doing some more Fight Clubs in the very near future. So for people that aren't necessarily in Tokyo, maybe a little more local stateside, we're going to try and bring some noise there. And I'm going to do my best to get a little Arcade Edition 2012 rebalance. This name is starting to get ridiculous, but I want to get some of that out there and get the American fans to go hands-on with that as well as the lucky Japanese fans.
Okay, cool. Any other words for our audience? There, I Play Winner?
I love the I Play Winner. You guys bring a smile to my face. Shout outs to Derry and all his shenanigans, and all you guys just for bringing it and keeping it real. So most appreciated, and sorry for my low energy here today. You caught me at the tail end, but it's been fantastic, and I'm really happy to see you guys out here and supporting all the fighting game scene. Coming up here on your, finding a way to make it work for another game I won't talk about now, but you did a great job, and it brought, it makes me really happy to see you guys out here putting in that kind of work. It's a pretty special thing, and I think the whole fighting game community recognizes it, so congratulations.
Okay, cool, thanks. Well,
Cool story, bro.
Follow us on Twitter, I Play Winner, and you follow me on Twitter, Hunt, and this guy's on Twitter as well.
Seth Killian on Twitter.
Seth Killian, yep. Thanks guys, see you later.